bus from Berwick back to Fenwick, and we're just going over the Tweed. Got the iconic train bridge in the distance there. There's been a lot of rain going on, so the river's filthy. To the North Sea on that side. Good morning. It's the final stage 6, last leg of doing the Northumberland coastal path. So got Luke with us again, and drove up to Berwick this morning, parked the car there, just got the X18 back down the A1, and you get off just on the A1. So we're now walking down a little country lane, signposted St Cuthbert's Way, and we're about to embark on 11 miles. Most of this will be back on the coast, as opposed to the last leg and half of the leg before that was through the farmer's field. So this last bit will be going towards Holy Island, and then just picking up the coast and going north. So the weather's not as kind as it maybe could be, but this week has been an absolute, you can see the water running down the path here. There's been a lot of local ice flooding. We were toying with whether or not to do it this week, but checked the forecast yesterday, and thankfully so far so good. It's been okay. It was raining this morning, but it should be dry now for the rest of the late morning and afternoon, so we'll crack on. Very little wind, which is good because my wind slayer hasn't turned up yet in the post, so we'll bring you back in a minute. We're just turning off the road now, up a track. Looks like there's been a bit of a murder. As we were on our way up, we saw on the A1 Vera's filming. So she was in Seaton Sluice yesterday, and then today they're just on the outskirts of Fenwick. So we saw a Land Rover on a trailer parked up, but a bit muddy this is. I could end up, oh, get on the grass in the middle, end up on my backside. It's definitely winter. I've had to get the woolly hat out and the gloves on. So as you're coming down at the moment, I don't know how long this diversion's here for, but you can't take the path through the fields and across the pedestrian crossing over the East Coast main line. You've got to follow the road down, come over the bridge, and then pick this farmer's track up, which follows back round, and it will eventually just pick back up on the track. It's just bypassing the pedestrian crossing over the railway that's shut, and we've got Holy Islands in the distance, and there's the causeway in the distance where you drive across. So at the minute, so far it's all right. In fact, look, a bit of blue sky. So don't think I'm going to need the factor 50 today, but I'll take it. So this is where the level crossing's closed. So typically you would be coming down straight across the fields behind us, and then as you're coming down the track here, there is a little marker post there, and you've got to take a right turn down towards the coast. So we've just had to consult the guidebook. Now we're heading towards the sea. It'd be nice to get back actually on the coast. There's a load of swans in the field just here, eating all the turnips. I haven't found any more giant puffballs yet. Right, having a rant. Flipping helium balloons. I've seen two now. We've only been walking 20 minutes. I couldn't get to the other one because it was tangled up in a tree. But this one here, I suppose thankfully, is it ain't going to get into the sea. But it's not. It's 2 fields away from being in the sea. Look at that. Just don't bother. Send a card. Give them a kiss. Stop doing helium balloons, please. Thank you. We're now through the fields and we're just near Holy Island Causeway, and the path now meanders through where the tank traps are from the war. But this is the only stretch of coastline I can think of up the northeast coast where they've got 2 rows of tank blocks. So I don't know why this would be more susceptible to an invasion, because I can't imagine it would be that, well, I don't know, that good for landing craft. But yeah, so, but we're back on the coast now, so navigation should be pretty easy. Keep the sea on the right, the shadows in front of you and the wind on your back, and fingers crossed we'll get there. Just disturbed the geese who were having a peck at the grass in the field. So we're now just north of the causeway leading over to Holy Island, which for me is uncharted territories. I've never been this far. Oh, I've been up in the car, but I've never walked this section at all. So it's the bit I've been looking forward to the most. I always like to see new places, and we've been having some very rough seas over the last week. The cod fishing's been fantastic, looking at what the lads have been catching locally. But the consequence of that is, as you can see, this is like a bit of a sort of salt marshy type bit, and you can see the high tide line just here where seaweed's all washed up. So yeah, obviously had some really high tides, winds coming from the east. The waves were about 14 foot tall at the peak, I think, and consequently there's a fair bit of stuff getting washed up. Put the camera on, they've all buggered off now. Hundreds of geese all having a, whatever geese do, squawk, honk. It's quite a nice stretch along here. It would be nicer still if it wasn't quite so squelchy underfoot, but we're getting there. Beal Sluice. Just coming over a bit of a river. This section down here, it's been a bit of a path of death. Found a dead baby seal, a dead swan, and a dead rat that initially I thought was a dead lizard, which I thought was dead tropical, but I rolled it over and it was only a dead rat. So all the way so far it's been well signposted. Other than that little bit by the level crossing, it's been spot on. So we're now on an elevated path just above the floodplain. Right, we're going the right way. So we're now approaching a cow situation. Look at the floor, don't make eye contact, or give it the like Crocodile Dundee and hypnotise them. But if there was one, I think I'd hypnotise it, but there's about 25. I'll be here all day. So we'll leave the hypnosis for now and just crack on. It's this brown one. This one's been eyeing us up from about 2 fields away. Oh. She knows who's boss. Go on, love. They're all just cows. Yeah. Wouldn't fancy being out here in the winter. We've just come through the dunes. Not a lot to talk about, to be truthful. It's just grey. We're too far back from the sea to actually see the sea. So now we're just crossing over a very muddy river. And I think we're entering onto Goswick Golf Course. So we've made it onto the beach for a bit of a change of scenery. And a bit weird, I mean it looks like there's almost like a little island just over there. Probably gets cut off at high tide. A few footprints but not many. And some nice old bits of driftwood that have washed up at high tide. The sea seems pretty wild, but it's away in the distance. But I think you would have to be careful here that you don't get cut off with the tide, because this bit clearly looks like it's low lying. Looks like somebody's been having fun on a motorbike up here just before last high tide, I would guess. But you're miles from anywhere, it's not really going to cause anybody any upset. Or maybe have a little poke into this shelter thing, whatever it is here. Apologies if the wind noise is bad, but we've got a bit of sunshine now. Bit of a lot of driftwood on the beach, big nice logs that have been well weathered. So hopefully some nice photographs, and just enjoying watching the sand blow along the beach, and the waves are crashing in. It's quite spectacular, and the beach is pretty empty. So I'm not familiar with this stretch of coastline at all, so I can't give you a commentary on where we are, but needless to say, it's absolutely stunning. A lot of debris that's clearly washed down the rivers into the sea and then up onto the beaches. Tide's now on its way out, has been for a couple of hours, but you can tell by the tide line is just made up of bits of grass and straw, and some of the driftwood's obviously quite fresh. But for a long way up that beach behind that we're just walking up now, you've had Berwick in the distance. So fingers crossed we can negotiate the rocks without too much slipping and sliding. It's been much nicer walking on the beach rather than just through the dunes where there's just not much of a view. So we've got another good emplacement, practically identical to the one that we saw earlier at Bugle, or earlier in the walk. So Holy Island's down in the distance in the background, but it is a long way off and it's a bit of a grey sky. But yeah, this one's been a bit more, well, the other one hadn't got graffiti or anything, and this one's been a bit abused, but still standing. So I think it could be a good little hammock camping option if you brought the right kind of gear. We're now just on an elevated section of road, parallel to the sea. I think this is Scremiston Beach, but I could be wrong, that's down below us, which is a good spot for fossil hunting if you're into your geology. I've been down there before and only ever found sort of winkle shells that are fossilised, which weren't particularly interesting, but we'll see what the sign says. And I think we've had our little treat of blue sky and now it's gone. So we've got the final, I can see a little blue marker there. Let's have a look, see what the sign says. So we are, oh no, there you go, Cocklaw Burn. So if you drive down there, it's a dead end, you can't get through. Lots of rules. Ignore them all, but just leave the place as you find it. This looks like potentially a good little wild camp spot. Sticking your tent just on that outcrop there, straight down onto the beach. A few little lobsters and stuff like that, and then well, I don't know if you even heard that East Coast Main Line train just went past. I thought it was going to make a right racket. It was really quiet, so maybe it is a good little spot. So this bloke here doing his kite surfing, if that's you, I've got to be honest with you, mate, I think you're a bit irresponsible. I've got mates in the lifeboat. He's on his own. He's just gone out. He's hit a wave like a flipping wall. He's knocked him off his board. He looks like he's lost his board. And now he looks in a right old pickle. Just think what you're doing. It's mental. It's a storm. Look at all the crap on the beach. Look at this, it's washed up. I mean, I know you can't go kite surfing on a non-windy sunny day, but surely there's a time and a place. Today isn't the time of the place. So folks, we're nearly there. Just walking up the side of the River Tweed with Berwick on the opposite bank, and it's been enjoyable, very enjoyable. However, it has been a bit grey. It's been longer than 11 miles. Luke's got it on his Strava, so we'll have a look when we finish. But yeah, my legs are aching. It's by far the longest walk I did since my leg operation, so I'll be interested to see how many steps I've done. And it was nice just having that bit of blue sky in the middle, just to get a few photographs, and I think it brightens you up a little bit. So we're nearly there now. I'm guessing, I think it's halfway across the bridge is the finish, so I'll bring you back at the end. Hello then folks, so that's us. We're now halfway across the River Tweed and we're entering into Scotland. The end of the walk, and halfway there. Well, in fact, I've finished, and now, as if by magic, we've become Scottish. Praise the Lord, there's nobody following us, thinking what a lunatic. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed joining us on the walk, and we'll plan the next adventure and I'll catch you on that one.